While Dallas, Hoxton, Chains and Duke were on their way to Hell's Island to save Bane, Locke came up with a plan to cripple Murky Water's defenses. He wanted to send a crew to infiltrate an overkill MC clubhouse close to the Mexican border, which was used to smuggle weapons and other illegal goods via an underground tunnel. The mission was to cross the border, reach the Coyopa cartel outpost, a compound which was storing tons of Murky Water assets, and steal as many of these assets as possible. Locke sent Clover, Sokol, Sydney and Sangre, hoping that the dentist will be too busy dealing with Bane and the others to notice any unusual activity. The crew raided the overkill outpost, quickly dealing with the gang members. As soon as they spotted the blinded entrance of the tunnel, they loaded some explosive charges on the door, blasting it open. They were on their way to Mexico. Once they arrived, they were greeted by an army of Murky Water soldiers, ready to help the Coyopa cartel to defend their valuables. The Payday gang fought through, locating weapons, coke and money all throughout the compound. Thanks to their intel, they knew an aircraft was stored in a nearby hangar, making for the perfect getaway. Once all valuables were loaded up, the crew survived for just a few more minutes until the aircraft was completely refueled and escaped that outpost, knowing that they just blew a hole into Murky Water's defenses, helping their crewmates back in America. Not long after, Locke contacted the crew for the next step of the plan, just to be interrupted by a familiar face.
Right, you chops. Let's get you... Hey, Lucky! Ah! What the bloody... Vlad? You drunky chop! Ah!
Vlad heard the news that the Payday gang was in Mexico, and since their assault on the Coyopa cartel caused him a lot of trouble, he believed they owed him a favor. He told them about a bank in San Martin owned by the mentioned cartel, used by Kataru for money laundering. He knew that inside that vault there were stored priceless Ukrainian treasures of the Romanov dynasty, which were supposedly family heirlooms. The plan was simple: create a surprise entrance and use those valuable minutes to locate the main vault and empty it. Once the crew arrived at the quiet town, it didn't take long until Vlad's surprise plan took action. His brother-in-law charged headfirst into the bank with his armored car, creating an opening and helping the gang to remove the gate to the vault with his winch. As soon as they spotted the main vault, they knew that a simple drill wouldn't do the job. That's why they brought with them an old friend, the Beast. Ironically, the same drill that was used in the dentist's first contract was now hurting his associates. Immediately after the vault door opened, the Payday crew bagged all the Ukrainian treasures and loaded them into the van, leaving that small Mexican town behind. Unfortunately, the plan didn't work out perfectly. During the getaway, the Mexican authorities managed to corner and capture Hajrudin, Vlad's brother-in-law. He managed to contact Vlad, letting him know that he was detained in a police station in Tijuana. With him, they also collected plenty of evidence from his past collaboration with the Payday gang that would send him in prison for life. Vlad immediately passed the intel to Locke, who sent the crew to destroy those evidence and bust Hajrudin out. Immediately after breaking into the police station, the Payday gang made their way to the upper floor, drilled the evidence room open and collected the evidence, turning it into ashes. After that was taken care of, they went in the cell block area, prying it open with a door breaker from the police armory. Inside, they found Hajrudin still being interrogated by two policemen. They took both down, set him free from his handcuffs and escorted him into the parking lot where his car from the previous heist was parked. But escaping with that vehicle was not so simple, as the authorities activated rising bollards at the exit. Locke's solution? An helicopter getaway. The crew just had to survive a few more minutes until Bal showed up to rescue them. They quickly hooked the car to the helicopter and flew away from Tijuana, leaving the Federales empty-handed. But their business in Mexico was not yet concluded. Vlad had just found out the reason why his brother-in-law was caught in the first place. The Coyopa cartel was working together with the Mexican authorities, as a revenge for emptying their compound. He had enough of this bickering and wanted to set the score once and for all. That's why he commissioned the Payday gang for one last job: kill Buluc, the boss of the Coyopa cartel. In exchange, he would send the gang cupcakes. The crew traveled to Buluc's mansion, where he was hosting a masquerade party with lots of potential associates, ever since his ties with the dentist and Kataru were cut thanks to our doings. Entering the mansion wasn't really a problem, but finding his office was no simple task. The gang pried open the mansion's gate with termite, quite literally crashing the party. They located his office, hidden behind a contraption disguised as a Mayan decoration. Thanks to Locke's intel, They knew that the only way to open this hidden door was to find which symbols had to be pushed. To solve that riddle, they had to reach Buluc's base of operation, as he called it, his inner sanctum. After one quick hack and hunt for the secret button to open its entrance, the crew had all the pieces of the puzzle to reach Buluc's location. Once inside his office, Buluc was standing inside with his back against the ocean. He tried to bribe the Payday gang for his life, which proved very unsuccessful. One push off the balcony later, the boss of the Coyopa cartel was nothing but food for the fishes. Since they were at it, the crew drilled his safe open, taking his content list. The only thing left now was to escape the Federales, which at this point were all over the mansion. They stopped the gang by blocking the main gate with an armored turret van, leaving them no choice but to destroy it using one of Buluc's cars from his garage, strapping a tank of gas to the hood, setting it on fire, and pushing the vehicle towards the van. Thankfully, the explosion was enough to take down the turret, granting them a small window to escape the mansion. With the Coyopa cartel officially taken care of, Vlad felt content with the Payday gang's work, and as promised, he sent pastries back in Washington with a shiny, familiar surprise.